Hey everyone, welcome to my channel and a very warm welcome if you're brand new here. I'm KiwiSimsKate, Kiwi because I'm from New Zealand, Sims because I love The Sims, and Kate because, well, that's my name. It's as simple as that. So welcome in. Today we are building again. That's kind of my thing, building in The Sims. And I thought I would try a style I don't normally build with. Seeing as this video is due to come out on Halloween, October the 31st, if I am quick enough, then I wanted to do a spooky or Halloween inspired build, and I very rarely build with the kind of occult packs in The Sims, but they do have some really gorgeous objects, so I was looking forward to trying something a bit different. Sometimes I find it easier to build in this kind of way because it's a very distinct style. So, when you're building for, and this cottage is for two Sims, I imagine, although there are 2 bedrooms, so you could fit 4 Sims in here. But in my mind, I was building it for a couple, and one Sim is a witch and one Sim is a spellcaster. So when you're building for very specific types of Sims like that, it can be a lot easier, even though I've had very little practice with this, these kind of spooky type builds or witchy builds or occult style buildings. So I had a lot of fun using objects that I don't normally use, using colors I wouldn't normally use. I made it quite dark, but also sort of rich colors, a lot of reds, a lot of blacks and greys and dark greens. And I'm really pleased with how it came out. So as I mentioned, there are 2 bedrooms in this build, and from how I imagine it at least, there's only 2 Sims that live here, but there's so much space you could easily add more Sims. In fact, I guess you could even make 4 bedrooms from this home. So I've furnished it with 2 bedrooms, both with double beds. But there's also a room that's big enough to fit a double bed, but I've made it a kind of library, cauldron room. So it's got the cauldron object and loads of bookshelves. So that could easily be converted into a bedroom if you wanted. And then upstairs, there's also another room that is, I think it would be big enough for a double bed as well. I'm sure it would be. But upstairs, I've converted into a kind of seance room. So it's got the seance table. It also has a bar up there, which I really liked adding. So maybe they entertain up there, they have their friends over and they perform rituals or seances and drink wine and I wanted to put plenty of hobby type objects in this build as well as just the regular kind of living objects. But right now I'm figuring out the exterior and layout of the house. I kind of wanted it to be cottagey, so sort of small, but then when I finished building, I realized it was quite a big house. Like the fact that you could have 4 bedrooms in this home makes it a pretty big house. But I wanted it to feel cozy, so I hope that's the kind of feeling that you get from it. I did still want it to feel like a cottage. I haven't done a big garden, but I've put loads of foliage, loads of trees around, and I go and work on the landscaping right at the very end of the build. And I like how the landscaping turned out, actually. I think it's cute. It's sort of like a wooded area with a cute little winding path through, sort of dark and mysterious. But then after I've sort of figured out the size of the home and the exterior look, then I move on to the interior and just looking through a lot of the objects from the sort of occult packs. So vampires, what are the other ones called? I always forget their names. There was the spooky pack. I can't remember the name of that. Spooky stuff, I guess it was. And there was, oh gosh, the names have escaped me now. See, that is how little I use those packs. But I really love the items in them. I just don't often build with them. There are some of the clutter items that I actually do use quite a lot in all my builds. But the furniture and that kind of those are larger objects from those packs I don't tend to use a lot. So this was, as I say, a lot of fun. And I got to use lots of dark wallpapers, which I enjoyed. I loved using this sort of red and gold tone flower wallpaper through the hallway in the living area. And I love the dark red that I use in the dining area. I also loved using that wooden flooring from Vampires that I've got through the kitchen and the dining area. That sort of, is it here? It's not really herringbone, but it's kind of a herringbone pattern. I really liked that. And also, I think that is a Jungle Adventure tile that I use in the kitchen. But it sort of fit with everything else. So I also use quite a bit of Jungle Adventure in this build. I got to use these chairs as well in this dining area that I think I keep these chairs. I think I might take them away and then put them back again. I forget. And then the other thing I had fun with in this home was candles. So you would have just seen me there placing a whole load of candles all the way down the dining table. And I do that in a few spots around the build where I just overload it with candles. I think I do it in the dining table, on top of the fireplace in the living room, and then again in the guest bedroom, which is sort of the front left corner of the home if you're looking from the front of the house. And I really loved what I did there as well in the guest bedroom. I placed a whole lot of candles in the windowsill, so it's one of those bay windows. I loved how it turned out. It was kind of tricky figuring out how to place them. You have to, like, if you have the walls up and you're trying to place them inside that bay surface, it doesn't really work. You have to have the walls down, and then it's sort of a bit of guesswork and a bit of trial and error to get them in the right spot. But I got it eventually, and I was happy I thought of that, because I think it looks really cool and it just fits this build perfectly. And for the kitchen, I love how the kitchen turned out too. I didn't want the home to be really dark, because for me, I still wanted it playable, and for me, if a home's too dark, I don't really enjoy playing in it. There needs to be enough light so I can kind of see what I'm doing and see what the sim is doing. So in the kitchen, I kept all the counters, or at least the cupboards, white with the black countertop, and the dining room is a little darker because of the dark red and the dark wood tones. But I think it's a nice contrast with the kind of the flow between the dining and the kitchen. In the dining room, I also put a few shelves, cluttered up a bit. I placed this globe, and there's actually 2 globes in The Sims. I don't know why, but we have a globe that is actually a functioning bar. And I realize a little bit later you'll see me swapping it out, because I think firstly I just put the globe object, and then later on I find the globe bar and decide to swap it out for a functioning object, because I also I did want to make sure I had plenty of things for your sim to do here in this home. So there's the cauldron, there's the seance table, there's actually 2 bars, plenty of bookshelves. What else did I put? Oh, I've also got a couple of garden planters out in the back patio area. And other than that, sort of all your usual things in a home. But yeah, I wanted to give them some hobby and skill building items as well. Oh, and also upstairs, I don't know if it's usable because I don't play with occult sims. I placed one of the witch's brooms on the wall in the upstairs room. So yeah, let me know down below in the comments if that's an actual usable item. I've never tried. I've yet to play test this build, but I will play test it before it goes up into the gallery, and you'll be able to download this build on the gallery under my EA ID KiwiSimsKate, just like all my other builds there. And by that point, once I've uploaded it, I will have play tested it. So I might give that a little try, that broom, and see what happens. Then I move on to the living area, and in the living area you'll see me do this candle trick that I was talking about with the fireplace, which I adore. I just put so many candles on it. I mean, I could have probably squeezed on like twice as many candles, but I thought the amount that I put there looked kind of perfect. I think I didn't want it to look ridiculous. Maybe it already does, I don't know, but I like it. And then using some sofas that I very rarely use as well. So the one from Get Famous, I think it was, in that red swatch, which I never use. Sometimes I might use it in another swatch, but yeah, I liked the dark red. It goes really nicely with the curtains and with the wallpaper here and the dark wood tones. And I didn't put a ton of greenery inside this house. I've put a few plants here and there, and I normally absolutely love adding plants. If there's ever a corner that's free in a Sims home, I usually go for a plant. But it didn't feel that fitting in this home because it's quite a dark home. You know, the windows are a bit smaller, doesn't tend to get a lot of light inside. I kind of felt like it wasn't very realistic to have a lot of house plants inside. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do still add some, like the big is it a banana palm type thing in the living area, and I put some sunflowers in that kind of milk crate thing in the kitchen. So I definitely add plants. I just don't add anywhere near as many as I would normally add. And in the cauldron room that I mentioned earlier, this is an object that I have actually never ever placed in any build, so it was really fun as well. And I liked doing this sort of almost wraparound bookshelves. I was almost going to use those wider shelves, and then they would either 2 of them beside each other were just too short between the, you know, to go right across the wall, and then I didn't like the way they clipped when I put 3 overlapping each other. So then I actually realized that these narrow bookshelves fit perfectly, 4 of them across the wall. So I swapped them out for those and put a couple of lovely candelabra wall lights in there as well. Keep it pretty simple. Oh, and a wand. That's another skill building item that I add for the spellcaster that lives here. I don't actually know, I've never used the wands and I've never used the cauldrons, so I don't know how the cauldron works. Again, I think I'm going to have a lot of fun playtesting this and trying out these occult objects that I just absolutely never use. There's a main bathroom. There's only one bathroom in this build. For this size of home, I would probably normally have 2 bathrooms, or at least one main bathroom and like a half bath, just a toilet and sink. But I didn't have the space, so I didn't want to squish another one in. And by this stage, I liked the shape of the home, so I wasn't really prepared to make any changes there. I didn't want it to be a huge home, but I just added, kind of a black and white themed bathroom using a lot of vampire objects, and then the master bedroom. But of course, you could use any of the rooms as master bedrooms. I use this gorgeous mosaic roof 4-poster bed in here with the roses, not mosaic, stained glass window. That's the thing I'm thinking of, with the roses, which I never use as well because most of my builds are not the kind of style where it would fit. And I quite plainly decorate the bedroom. I think I do go back a little later near the end and add a couple more things in the bedroom. I add another window and some more artwork, I think. And then upstairs, I decorate the sort of seance, entertaining room, and this is where I put a few more of the wall decorations that make it look a bit more worn down. So there's some cracks and holes, rips and water stains. I also add a spider web in the corner, whereas I didn't want to add a lot of that stuff to the main part of the house because I do still feel like, that the Sims that live here are not vampires. So and they're they have jobs and they are busy and they take quite good care of their home and they have a lot of pride in where they live. So I think that the main part of the house still is kept quite clean and quite pretty by the Sims that live here. And they take a lot of care with it. But upstairs, I thought maybe they don't spend as much time up there, so maybe it's a bit less taken care of. And I did want to incorporate some of the spider webs and some of the cracks and things more. So I used that up in the seance room. And then after that, you will see me go back, as I mentioned, to the master bedroom, finish off a few decorations, add a lovely large rug, more garlic. I've placed garlic all over the place. Of course, if you wanted a vampire to live here, you could, and you would probably just want to remove all the garlic. And then I also added a door out to the backyard, or the back patio area from the bedroom. So there's 2 exits out the back of the home, one by the main bathroom area, out the kitchen, and then one out of the main bedroom. The last room I decorate inside is the guest room, or what I imagine the guest room would be. But of course, if your Sims had children or other people that lived here, they could use this room. You could change it into a nursery. You could have your main Sims sleeping here, whatever you wanted. But I do this trick that I talked about earlier about candles. I clutter the bay window up in loads and loads of candles, and I love it. I think it's kind of spooky looking, but mysterious. Yeah, and I think when all the candles are lit, it would look really lovely from the outside of the house as well, looking in through the window. I thought it would be quite interesting. I also put the cow plant in the kind of terrarium thing in here, which I thought was really cute. I don't think I've ever placed that object either. So I don't know. Does it kind of act like a fish where you have to feed it? I don't know. Anyway, I thought it looked cute in here and it fit, and so I placed it. And then I used the Seasons dresser and bedside tables. I've just found a swatch that worked really well with the other colours that I used in this room. So this room has a lot of sort of burnt orangey golds, dark browns, silvers, and blacks. And this season's dresser and side tables worked perfectly. And I didn't really know what else to place in this bedroom, so I put a screen. I also put a screen in the other bedroom. They're not functional objects, but they're such great decorative items to use in areas where maybe you're not sure what else to put. So that's what happened here, and that is what I did. And then with the little kind of mudroom area out the back, I just placed a dressing table with a couple of decorative items. I go through in the kitchen and I place a few clutter items just to make the place look a little bit more lived in. So a couple of the wine glasses, some weird juice stuff that I thought looked maybe a little bit like plasma type stuff, but I don't know what it could be. It just sort of looked like it fit in this sort of build, and some jars of food, making it look a little more lived in. And I love how this whole kitchen turned out, but there's still plenty of space, plenty of surfaces for your sim to cook in, or you can just get rid of the clutter, like the meat and the chopping board and things like that, if you want more space, or if you want to place some more appliances or something. In the front entrance area, I loved using the green wallpaper. I definitely wanted to get green in here somewhere. I think it fits with the style. Greens, like dark greens, dark reds, blacks, browns. Yeah, I wanted this house to be colourful, but the right kind of colourful. So colourful that would fit a witch or a spellcaster. And then I just moved the home a little bit because I realised it was a little deeper in size than I thought. So I had thought about putting a larger garden in here, but by the time I got finished with the house and I was really happy with it, there was just not enough space. So that's why when I get round to doing the landscaping, I just have a little corner where I put a patio. But I think it fits well. I don't think they would have a huge outdoor space. They probably do a lot more indoor activities, like with the Cauldron, and maybe they practice some of their spell casting out the back here, but they don't need a load of space. And then I also place a few more items around the exterior of the house. So I love using all of these climbing plants, the new wisteria that we got with Cottage Living. I'm just obsessed with it, and the ivy that we got with Cottage Living too, the large pieces of ivy. I just think the shapes that we got them in work really well. Obviously, I would love more shapes and to be able to kind of position them in different ways. They're a little bit limiting in how you can place them and what sizes you can get them. But I just love that we got them. I think that, I now use the Cottage Living climbing plants a lot more than any of the others now that we have them. So lots of plants around the outside of the home, and then landscaping, a lot of low-lying shrubs. I didn't want to add a whole load of colour, like a whole load of flowers. So there are some flower boxes under some of the windows. But other than that, I keep it mostly just different shades of green, and a few small sort of light coloured daisies in the undergrowth. But I didn't imagine they would necessarily be into gardening that much. But perhaps they grow some of their own plants, but not heavily into gardening. But what I did want to give them, which I really loved how it turned out, is this idea of a kind of secret forest garden area. So the last thing you'll see me put into this build is this fountain that's kind of hidden underneath these big pine trees. And yeah, I wish I had more space maybe to make it bigger, but I wanted it to look like if you're walking through that little winding path, you felt like you were wandering through a forest, some kind of secret, maybe magical forest. So yeah, I also put a little bench in there they can sit and, I don't know, contemplate magical things or whatever the occult sims do and look at the beautiful overgrown fountain and yeah, just have some bit of outdoor space. I thought it fit with the whole vibe of the place. Screenshots will be here shortly. If you'd like to download this build, my gallery ID is KiwiSimsKate, and you can find this build and all my other builds there. If you do enjoy this build, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and you can enjoy all my future videos here on YouTube. You can also follow me on my other socials, Twitch, Twitter and Instagram, all of those at KiwiSimsKate. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this and take care out there. Bye.